Hello, my name's David, and today I'm going to be showing how to get up to speed with Survey123. In this video, we'll be covering Survey123 in two key components, the web editor and Connect. Within the web editor, we have a quick drag and drop experience. It's very fast, simple, and intuitive to use. So we're going to show you how to get started and maybe how to start customizing your first survey. And then we're going to start building towards showing how to use smart logic. Next, we're going to go to Survey123 Connect, which is a desktop-based application. We'll show how to port your web survey to Connect so it can be edited within an XLS form. And then finally, we're going to start looking at some advanced survey configuration. So what exactly is Survey123? Well, at its core components, it's a survey builder based on forms and spatial data. So we can start attaching attribute information towards points, lines, polygons. So here we have Survey123 web, and it'll show us our current surveys. We can click on a new survey here, and it'll give us three new options. So we can build one from scratch, use a template survey, so this will be industry templates such as maybe noise pollution or a habitat survey, or we can go straight to Connect. I always recommend starting with a blank survey or one of the industry templates. So we're going to do a litter pickup survey. So we're going to call this Plymouth Litter Collection. We can also give us tags to make it more searchable by members of the ArcGIS Online community. So we're just going to give the tag of litter, and then we're going to hit create. So now we have our web editor, and on the right we have our options for question choices. So I think every survey should start off simple. We're just going to add a map question, and we're going to title it, "Where did you do the litter pickup?" Now, by default, every map question is going to show a world-based map. I would love to do a global litter pickup, but we're going to start small, stick to Plymouth, keep it nice and tidy. So here in our configuration, we can decide on the drawing tools. So we could just say area, and we get our base map. So we can zoom this in. So with that, when the user opens this, it'll go down to the area we're showing, so they don't have to scroll in to their locality. So here we have Plymouth. We're just going to make it on the beach here. We're also just going to change the base map so it shows the beach. So we'll go for GB topographic. We can also ask for the device's location. So this makes it convenient. I like to do both that and set the base map in case the user's turned location off. So now that we have that, we can maybe start asking some basic questions about litter collection. So we can just put a number question here and ask the user how many bags did they pick up. We can also assign a default value. We can enforce some restrictions, like the user has to answer the question in order to submit the survey. We can force it to be an integer or set a minimum and maximum value. Next, we can maybe ask what things they picked up. So we can put maybe a multiple choice question and say, what litter did you pick up? And here we can start assigning the options. So we'll say glass, cardboard, plastic, and then we'll do allow other. So now the user can select between these options. And we also get some more configuration options for the appearance. Now next, maybe we want to ask the user, would they like to join a regular litter picking up group? So we can make this a single choice question. And we can just make this a yes and no. And then remove this third option. Now we're going to introduce smart logic here. we want to ask the user for the email if they answer yes to question 4 here, whether they like to join a litter collection group. So to do this, we can insert the email question, ask them to insert their email, and then back to question 4, if we click on and mouse to the bottom right here, we can set a rule. So we just click on this, and it's just based on if logic. So if the user answers yes to question 4, it's going to show question 5. Otherwise, question 5 will not be shown. So we can go ahead and save this. And now we have a collection survey. Maybe we don't want this in green though, so we can go to our appearance options and we can start configuring this. So we can change it to blue. We can also go to the bottom and make the appearance show as our organizations, or maybe from an existing survey we have, or we can go entirely custom or just use one of these templates here. So we can just save that again, and then we can publish it. And there we have it. We have our survey published. Now we can start sharing it with our users. So here's just another litter collection survey I've made previously that has a few records. And we can see in the overview tab, it gives us some quick infographics about the number of records we've got, the participants, when it was first submitted, and when it was last submitted on. We can still go to the design tab, make changes to it, or we can go to the collaborate tab to start sharing it out. So we can use this URL link and share that, or we can use a QR code. So maybe we're putting this on a board. We can also configure it to open within a web browser or to open within the Survey123 app. And we can also start sharing out to other members. So we can say we want the public to be able to use it, or maybe just members of our organization or a particular group. And we can configure if submitters can only add new records, or if they're able to update existing records, and whether they're allowed to do multiple submissions. We can also configure a closing date for the survey. We can also go to our Analyze tab and get some additional charts about our responses. So we can see here how many bags of litter were collected. At the top, we have our date of collection, so which days are most busy. We see here on the 16th, we had 2 records. And we can also go to our data tab to view the actual submissions themselves, as well as see the data within a map. So we can see users have been drawing the areas out. So now we've created a survey within the web editor, but we're going to start looking at some more advanced configuration. So why should we move to something based within an XLS form? Well, firstly, we get more appearance options. We can also start adding hidden questions. So maybe we want to collect particular data that's auto-filled in, but isn't asked directly to the user. So maybe the user clicks on a particular feature and we want to know that they've clicked on that feature. We could use a hidden question for that. We can also use multilingual support, so have different languages. We can also request audio samples, do barcode scanning, very handy for asset inspections. We can automatically record the device type that the survey's been filled in. We can calculate new fields based on answers from previous questions we've asked to the user. And finally, we can ask image questions. So this is just shown here, where the user can actually just click on a particular part of an image to submit their answer. It's more engaging, it's quicker for the user, it makes a nicer survey. So here we have Survey123 Connect. And here we have the new survey that we created within the web editor. So we can just click on this and download it. This will carry out the conversion process between web and Connect. I will warn, once we've done this, we can't go back to the web designer, so we can't use the drag and drop functionality, but we can still use the Analyze, Collaborate tabs, everything else. So now that this is done, we can just click on the survey. Here we have the template that we created. So this is why I always recommend starting in the web editor, because it's just quick and fast to use. And if we need additional functionality, we can just import it into Connect. We can click on our XLS form here, and this will bring up the survey in an Excel sheet. So we can just go to full size here. So in our survey, we're asking how many bags the user has picked up. And we want to maybe tell them how many liters they've actually collected. So say we're using 30 liter bin bag liners. We can just do a calculation for this. To do this, we just need to right click and insert a new row. Next, on the question type, we just need to scroll down until we find the calculate the question type. Now we just need to give this a name, so we can just call this calculation, and we'll just call it liters. Next, you might have to scroll, but on the right here, you should have a calculation column. So in this, we're going to do the calculation. The hint gives us the format, so we just need to use a $sign, and then in the brackets, we need to copy the value of this name, so how many bags did you pick up. Close the bracket, and since we're using a 30-liter bin bag liner, we're just going to times it by 30. But we could also times it by the answer to another question. Now, when the user puts in maybe they've picked up 2 bags, it's going to times this by 30 and store it in this calculation liters name. Now, we want to tell the user this, so what better place to put it than in the submission message? So this is sent to the user when they submit the survey. We can go to the label here, and we can just ignore most of this. This is just formatting. What we're interested in is this text here saying, great, your data was sent successfully. So we're just going to remove this part and say, great, you picked up. And then we're just going to refer to our calculation. So we're going to use a $sign, more brackets, calculation, liters. And then close the brackets. And then we're just going to say, you've picked up X number liters of litter. So now this will be sent to the user when they submit the survey. So we may have a few multilingual users and we want to translate the survey for them. In the case of Plymouth, we may have French tourists, so let's translate it to French. It's just like setting up the calculation question. We just need to scroll down the bottom here until we find the language column. Here we can see we have the label and the hint. So we're just going to change the label to French. And then we're going to change this code here. So from XX to a small fr. So this will translate the actual application. Next, we can just copy over our translations. And maybe we want to do the same thing for our choices. So we can copy these and go down to the choices menu down here, and we'll have this same label. We just copy this over, save the survey, go back to connect, it'll convert this XLS form. We now have a survey. In the top right, we have this new menu, and we can swap the language to French. So let's just change this back to English, and we'll show how to set up an image question. So first, we're just going to go to Files, and then we just need to go to our Media folder, and we can see we have a few SVG images in here. So this is vector graphics. We have one already prepared up here. We can just go back to our folder and copy this in. If we open this up, we just see we have a map with 3 different colors along the beach. I've just configured this. Ideally, the user will be able to select one of these 3 beaches to say, this is the beach I did my litter collection on. With the vector graphics, the key thing is they are divided up into a number of colors. So each of these paths here within the code is one color. So we have 3 beaches. So I've just assigned an ID to these 3 beaches. Here we have Port Wrinkle, Freethy Beach, and Ream Beach. The rest of these paths don't have an ID. Survey123 will only read these SVG images if they have paths. So if you have rectangle, circle, you need to change these to paths. So let's close that down and go back to our survey. So we can open our XLS form again, and we're just going to change our map question to the SVG image. So we just go to the question type and switch it from GeoShape to select one or select multiple. We just want the user to be able to select one, so we'll go with that. Here we can see we have a list name, so we need to configure this. To do this, we go to our choices at the bottom here, and we need to insert a list name. So for simplicity, I will just put SVG. I'm going to put this 3 times, just one for each beach, and then we're going to copy over our list names as they appear within the SVG file, and then we're just going to insert some labels that will show within the survey. Next, we go back to our Select one and remove the list name. We also need to remove the brackets, and we just insert the choice name list that we just configured. We can just hit yes to this. Next, we need to configure the appearance to be an image map question. So we just scroll to the left here and find appearance. This is just a drop down, so we just scroll down until we find the image map appearance type. Next, we need to point this to the particular SVG image. So we just need to go to the right here, and here we have the media image column. So we can just go to our question here, and we just need to type the file name as it appears in the media folder. So for this, we just have Plymouth, and then we insert the SVG extension. We can just save this and go back to our survey, and this should now convert. So here we can see we have our SVG image configured. If I mouse over the water, it doesn't select, but if we mouse over the beaches, these do select. So to summarize, we've shown how to quickly create a survey within the web editor. I always recommend starting your surveys with these because you can keep republishing them. You don't have to make a new survey if you find out you didn't like it after you published it, or you want to make a small change. We've also shown how to introduce smart logic, so showing particular questions based upon previous user responses. We've then examined when we should start using Connect. So this is ideal if you like your XLS forms or if you want to unlock some advanced configuration options. So we've shown how to set up image map questions, how to do calculations, how to implement multilingual support. There's a few other options as we've highlighted, such as the audio samples or barcode scanning, as well as the appearance options. I've attached a few resources if you want to get set up yourself within Connect. I recommend going out and checking those. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the box set.